Hey, what's up guys, it's your boy Speed here, and today I'm very excited to take a look at GH's Shadow Shaman Position 4 gameplay. I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with this player. For Team Nigma, absolute beast, a Position 4 player we all look up to. And he's playing Shadow Shaman with a Mars. This is a very strong and common lane in the high MMR brackets because of the raw amounts of magical damage you do. He goes 4, 5, and 20 in this match, an insane amount of assists, an incredible amount of impact that he has, and I want to talk about how he splits the map, how he sets up ganks, even how he trades in lane, because you'll notice he has a stick, branches, fairy fire, and a lot of tangos, which is very different from the most common starting build of boots and 3 tangos that we're seeing on most shamans nowadays. So if you're excited for this video, I would genuinely appreciate it, I mean it. I would genuinely appreciate it if you could smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, go check out the GameLeap website, as I'll be making videos like this over there. I make one a day, videos like the YouTube videos, if not better. And so yeah, click the link down below, go sign up now, and I will help you to get to the MMR that you want. Alright, let's hop into it. So you notice that the items he queues up are very fascinating. He instantly ships out a salve. He clearly has an idea that he just wants to auto. Then he's gonna buy boots next, which, you know, you need boots on Shaman. This hero without boots is very questionable later on into the game, considering you need to gank, and you're very slow, so you die easily. But yeah, let's see how he approaches the lane. So you notice he's gonna be going for the auto attack nuke combo over and over and over again. And this is why, like, item builds, honestly, you can build a whole plethora of different items, but honestly, your gameplay largely stays the same. However, there's slight differences. You'll see him take a lot more 1v1 trades that you wouldn't see with Boots Shaman. And let's take a look. But here's the auto attack nuke combo. You kind of walk up. He specifically walks to the right here just to avoid immediate creep aggro. It's like one of those, you know how like, it's like with boxers, it can often be very hard to see like the little things, the little movements that cause them to be such a good boxer, such an incredible player. And that's like what this movement to the right here, if you didn't see it, I know it's like small, but I just want to point out that these things exist. And you might be saying, Speed, how do I improve on that? You kind of just got to play a lot of Dota. You got to just feel like, oh, if I auto attack here, without even thinking of it, oh, if I auto attack here, I'm going to aggro 3 creeps and they're going to hit me immediately because of my positioning. In fact, I might even get gone on or hit by an Inkswell or a stroke of fate spin, whatever it is. So you notice he immediately shifts his positioning based on Jug's positioning because Jug's standing on the right. So if he auto attacks from here, he's going to draw aggro. If Jug was here though, if Jug was standing here, he would auto attack from here. Right, and so it's really good movement to avoid the damage and get a lot of damage onto the Jug. So upcoming here are the trades that Boots Shaman would have to be very weary about and often wouldn't want to trade, but because of his item change, he can take this trade. So he's going to walk up to the Grimstroke here, right? Going for this range creep, obviously wants to secure it. It gets de-aggroed, unfortunately, and you notice that the Grim kind of mans up, and GH just kind of goes all in. Now, unfortunately, GH, I don't know how Grimstroke didn't eat that. He actually had a tango. Bit of a mistake from the Grimstroke there. I guess he just didn't expect GH to actually drop a branch to eat. But because of this, he can completely man up. His attack speed is a lot higher. His HP is higher. He has more tangos. He's got a stick if he needs to pop it and a fairy fire. And so his ability to just like man up and take a 1v1 straight up trade is very strong. With Boots, you don't want to really ever get in melee range of someone unless you're 80% HP and they're 20% HP. But with this build, you know, with a hero like Shaman who has extremely high armor and good damage, you're happy to do this. And now here, I really love what GH is doing. I really do. I think this is incredibly high skill. So he's contesting the side pull, right? Nothing too crazy here. He just drags it over, reconnects it with the creep wave, and you'll see he gets gone on. And rightfully so. Usually when you go on a Shaman at this point in the game, he does have boots, but even if he has boots here, he's so far out of position, quote unquote, that he would still die, right, to an Inkswell spin combo. But because he has a wand and a fairy fire and a tango, which he actually didn't pop the tango, but primarily here the wand and the fairy fire, because he has this and these extra stats, right, the plus 3L stats from the wand, he's more than comfortable manning up. And Jug quickly realizes this as well. You know, you could see the Jug is a very high MMR player because Jug sees the wand charges. He backs up, right? The Jug's like, I actually can't kill this guy. We're out of damage. Most Jugs would man up and actually die as well here. You're going to notice the Grim ends up dying, but Jug would die as well. And Jug even panics here. He's like, oh god, I'm letting my Grim die. And that's where GH baited him in. 10 wand charges, he builds them up, gets that advantage, and then baits around it. sets up a huge kill. And by the way, the last thing I want to mention about that trade, without really going too deep into it, is that when you bait, you have to only go up to a certain point where you don't insta-die. Right? If he goes under their tier 1 and just dies, it really doesn't do much. It's all about finding that nice balance where it forces the team to overcommit. Okay, so in this next clip, I actually learned something from GH here. I did. You would think that, like right here, what would you think he would lead with, guys? Honestly, even my intuition told me that he would lead with Hex or Ether Shock. And the reason for that is if you lead with Ether Shock, the Jug might not think much of it, assuming you're trying to kill him, right? He might not think much of it. It's just like, all right, he's just harassing me. If you lead with Hex, it's like, oh, okay, it's because the instant disable and he might spin. But what GH actually does here is he plays around the fact that Jug just simply doesn't see him as a threat, right? So he leads with the Ether Shock and then Shackle right when the Mars is coming out. So I don't know, I just thought it was a cool play where usually I would expect to see Shamans lead with Hex against a hero like Jug or something like that. But in this case, he kind of just reads the mentality of the Jug, which is until I see the Mars, I'm not going to spin, and it's not long enough. And because of the good Hex cast point, he gets a kill. Next, I'd like to talk about the entire sequence of this smoke gank and everything he does to make it work out so well. They end up picking up a double kill. So he smokes the mid. The main thing I'd like to say here is that the reason why I like the smoke mid in particular is primarily because he has a very heavy kill potential with his mid laner. Right? A lot of the time, position 4 players will walk mid, and there's just no kill potential. It's like some Tinker against Puck, and like Tinker can't do any damage to the Puck because he's max March, and yet the position 4 like Shaman will walk mid with no kill potential and just waste his time, where instead he could have stacked or set up a kill in a different lane. And so in this case, what you see here is he pops the smoke. He's kind of just waiting for Tinker to step up. Tinker doesn't step up, so he's going to wrap around. He's still got the smoke, right? He knows with this smoke he won't get seen by the creep wave, and he's going to go for a deep ward. I think he was maybe hoping to see the Tinker here, but instead, because the gank doesn't work out, he'll spend the time to get down a really nice deep ward that might scout out a future rotation. After that, he will decide to snipe this courier. I think he just felt like, okay, at this point, I don't know where the Tinker is. Tinker clearly has the read that I'm here. Why can you assume that Tinker knows you're here? Well, he's been playing very defensive. It's not a guarantee, right? In this case, I even think it ends up not being true that Tinker didn't think about it. But sniping couriers is huge. You have to think, the 60 gold per person that this gives is 300 gold. It's really insane. It's like a kill. Couriers are really incredibly valuable. But yeah, he ends up wrapping around the bend here, even though this is a very risky play. Like, typically doing this when they know you're here, right? He just sniped the courier. Making a play like this when they know you're in the area is very questionable because often teams will respond to it. But in this case, they're just so powerful that they don't care. Like, sometimes in Dota, you can make theoretically stupid plays, but it's fine because of your hero's just like natural strength. Now, who's naturally strong here? Primarily Void Spirit. This hero at level 6 is insane. It's one of the strongest heroes in Dota at level 6. Same thing with Mars. This hero is literally at level 6. It is one of the strongest heroes in Dota. Arena is largely unmatched, right, at level 6. And so there you go. They just have 2 of the best level 6 spikes in Dota, so they go in. He leads with the Hex onto the Tinker, and I love his spell selection here. He goes for the Hex, instantly into the nuke, ends up getting silence, kites out of the arena to avoid taking damage, and you might be saying, oh, he's got to shackle the Tinker, that's the big kill. Yeah, but he's already speared, so instead, he goes for the shackle onto the Earth Spear to avoid exit, and a double kill is acquired. And lastly, as we watch this gank end, I do want to say that these players, at these high levels, they really are just faster than you, right? Generally, they're just quicker, they're faster, their attention to the minimap is always a little bit faster, they're always one step ahead. It really is like that because you could see both of them in like a 3K more game. What do you think the chances are that they kill this Grimstroke that just appeared on the map? Probably pretty low. But because they're both really high power players, they both have that quick, oh, he's there, right? They're both immediately looking down at the minimap, right? That's what these players do. They always look at the minimap 24/7, right? And so if you're not looking at the minimap, you're going to miss kills like this. They just simply wouldn't kill this guy. But yeah, once again, he leads him with the Hex. In this case, doesn't have shackles, so he just, Hex nukes, and they get another kill. On top of that, they get the mid tower, which is insane. Like, absolutely beautiful rotation by GH, putting his team all the way up to a 5K net worth lead at the 9-minute mark is insane. So props to him. That's why, support players, if you know how to, make your rotations based on item timings, skill timings, primarily skill timings, like, what level is your mid laner and what is the matchup? Those are the big 2 things for your, how do you make the good decision? It's usually, what is the level and what is the matchup? Next up, we're going to see a very basic but effective Shaman play. A little cart wave on the top side. Even without a cart wave, I think he would make this play, but the cart makes it even better. And he drops his Shaman wards. Nothing too crazy here. They do scout out with a scan. The Grimstroke is here, but he TP'd out. Don't matter. No big deal. Pops the tome. and you're going to see he's maxing out Hex. This is the most common build right here. And I love their decision making here, man. This is just like, guys, I know I stress this a lot and I say this a lot, but this is like pros, they're so good at reading just how strong their heroes are. And it's not perfect. Trust me, it will never be perfect. AIs are not even perfect, right? However, why do they run away here, right? Why do they run away here? Because I think the majority of players, think about it, okay? What would the majority of players do? They would say, oh, we have Glimpse, we have Glimpse, we have Static Storm, this is Tinker, this is a hero usually you can just go on, you could just jump Tinker. It's like, oh, he's so squishy, we could just kill him. You know, but in this case, why is that not the case? Why does that not work? It doesn't work because if he's doing this and he's a high MR player, he's baiting. He's baiting, and they read the bait. Not perfectly, but to a very high extent, they read the bait. You can see they all run away. How often in a 3K MMR game do you see 3 players all run away from one hero? Almost never. But that's why they all have good intuition. That's why they're all in this bracket. They even defensively glimpse, and they read the rotation. Could they have taken the fight anyway? Maybe. Maybe. You can see they're looking to go back in here. But vision and jump advantage is everything. If GH went in and shackled and went on the Tinker, and then Earth Spirit was able to get off multi-man ulti, multi-man silence, and slow, they would probably all die to that and the jug spin. Next up, I love this little decision here. It is very, it is like literally a very little decision, but I think it's a very important decision. Right here, his team is posturing like this. What would most people do? Honestly, what would most people do? They would go and sit with their team, and that's fine. Usually, I'd be like, oh, that's great. Your team is posturing aggressive, and it's with your aggressive heroes, and you're creating space for this PA with Battle Fury. Fantastic. That's exactly what you should do. But, he wants to push in the lane, right? Because he understands if he pushes in this lane, then they can threaten this tower, and then they can also collapse in through here, and they can kind of just like trap the enemy team in. He was also just getting his Aether Lens, and Shaman is a very level-dependent hero, and so it's totally fine to slow down the pace of the game and say, okay, guys, I'm going to push in a wave. Now, in this case, yeah, his team ends up going down, they overextended, it is what it is, but if you're ever close to an item, in this case, he did have the Aether Lens already, so I can't make that argument, but let's say he was close to the Aether Lens, that's a great reason. Or if the waves are not pushed in, it is totally fine to push in waves and then make aggressive plays. In fact, I highly recommend it so you have vision advantages. Next up, let's take a quick little look at a solo kill. Once you have Aether Lens, you really become a solo killing machine. Previous to Aether Lens, it's very hard in team fights to actually, you know, shackle someone. It just is. The cast range is quite bad. But in this case, you know, the fight's breaking out, and you might be saying speed, but if he shackles this guy and ultis him, won't it just get cancelled? Won't Earth Spirit roll in? Well, yeah. Likely. It's likely. Not a guarantee, but it's likely. However, if that happens, the entirety of the enemy team is going on you, and you've already probably used Snakes, Hex, Ether Shock. You've already committed a lot of your spells onto a hero, and that's exactly what we see here. Right? Commits the combo, Hex, Wards, Ether Shock in that order. Then, he knows this guy does not have phase boots, right? So he cannot run out of it. He doesn't even have boots. And then he gets the shackle. And now, in this case, the enemy team decided to go on these targets, which makes sense. They had a good little combo. But because of that, the Beastmaster gets solo killed. Alright, moving on towards the late game here, let's quickly talk about his item decisions. He actually went for the Shard and a Glimmer. And I like this here. I think the enemy team, they don't have the best of ways to getting to the backline. They do have Earth Spirit, which is, you know, maybe the best hero to get to the backline. But to be fair, if you're staying really far back and, you know, you force him to commit on you, it's not too bad. It's not. But what I really want to say here is that I like the Shard because it really helps against a hero like Jug that has to be their frontliner, right? They have this like Jug Beastmaster that are going to walk up, and then he has a Mars and a PA and a Void Spirit, a lot of frontline heroes. So I really do believe that he'll be able to stay in the back very efficiently. And I think Glimmer is incredibly good against Tinker. You know, against Tinker when this hero is just spamming rockets, if you're playing a position 4 or position 5, and you don't have like Tranquils or Glimmer, Glimmer is better obviously because you take 0 damage, you kind of just die casually, and it feels really bad. And so I like the Glimmer decision here to counter out the Tinker. On top of that, what the Shard does, I know it's a bit niche, and the thing is though, I love these efficiency plays, you know? He's just gonna go walk up to the Ancients, shackle them, and start farming it, you know? Like, and the reality is you can do this. It's totally fine, you know? Sometimes your team has an offlaner who doesn't really need that many items. Like, yeah, sure, Mars wants to farm, and this Lotus timing is pretty big for him, and that's great. But Shaman is also a hero that is incredibly good with items and levels, and so it's good for you to do this. And finally, one of the game-ending fights of this match comes here. I love what he does, honestly. I think there's so much to dissect here that is so powerful, but you'll notice they pop a smoke, and they're very hesitant to run up this hill. They haven't seen an enemy on this top ward, so they're assuming they're on this hill, right? They definitely assume that. Now, you're going to see GH runs bottom, right? He runs bottom, and he's going to push in the wave, okay. So he does that, runs bottom, pushes in the wave. And what does that signal to the enemy team? It signals that, okay, maybe they're not actually trying to kill us right now. Their primary lockdown hero is not even with them if they're smoked, right? And so they might get a little bit lackadaisical because of that. I don't know if that happened for sure. I can't get into the head of the Juggernaut. But what I can tell you is that the sequence that follows really does make it seem like that. They smoke up into the triangle after GH shows bottom. You can see maybe Earth Spear got a little bit comfortable mid because he walks up. And then the Jug ends up getting caught by a Hex. Fight breaks out. Nice Shaman wards. He knows he can't really shackle with the Beastmaster here, so he doesn't even bother. He focuses the other spells, which is a good decision. And then he'll get a shackle onto the Beast. But the main thing to talk about there is obviously this Juggernaut who gets hexed. He has a BKB, but it is certainly not enough when you get put in the Wombo combo. And yeah, you kind of just get right-clicked down by a Phantom Assassin. Alright, and that's going to be about the end of the video as we see GH get nuked down. But with a nice little buyback, he's going to catch the Grimstroke, and that'll be the end of the match. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed and can take some insights out of this match and hopefully apply them into your own game. And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the GameLeap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.